हेलो एवरीवन एंड वेलकम बैक टू श्री एफसी। आई होप आप सब बहुत अच्छे होंगे। यू आर ऑल वेल एंड गुड एंड टुडे न्यूज़ फूटी जा रही है। द न्यूज़ आर कमिंग एंड कमिंग एंड कमिंग एंड राइट नाउ इट लुक्स लाइक द ट्रांसफर सीजन इज देयर एंड I had to get Ankit Bhai on short notice. I had to get Ankit Bhai because it's time for Chelsea fans to have a therapy of what's going on with this beautiful club right now. So how are you, Ankit Bhai, and how are you feeling about the transfer news going on?
भाई फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक्स यार वापस बात करने के लिए ऑब्वियसली मौका चाहिए हमें तो लेकिन इट्स ग्रेट टू बी बैक ऑन श्रेय एफसी एज वेल भाई जो भी लोग देख रहे हैं फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लेट्स हिट दैट लाइक बटन लेट्स सब्सक्राइब टू श्रेय एफसी एज वेल एंड हिट दैट बेल नोटिफिकेशन आइकॉन बिकॉज लाइक श्रेय ने बोला ना ट्रांसफर विंडो इज सच वेयर वी हैव न्यूज लिटरली एवरी डे और भाई द डायनामिक्स चेंज एवरी 48 hours लिटरली और मैं तो बोलता हूँ नॉट इवन 48 hours sometimes it's 12 hours. Like we were literally discussing a couple of days ago that Real Madrid has obviously rejected or rather not happy with the price tag of Kai Havertz. Or now while we were just about to stream this, we get to know about the Kai Havertz news. But not just that. I think Mason Mount and again Chelsea. When we talk about transfers, Chelsea cannot be in the news. It's not possible. लेकिन generally speaking वो domino effect देता है to Manchester United, Arsenal and others. So I think there's a lot to be discussing. So great to be back to discuss that.
So it's so good to have Ankit Bhai and big up to Dhiren bro, a big support of the channel and thank you Dhiren Bhai to be here. And right now, if anybody's getting reflection on my specs, I apologize, but my eyes cannot take it, so I have to wear it. So coming on to some news, Ankit Bhai, we have some big news today, Ankit Bhai, with all the news coming out. And this is the first news you can see on the screen. A special Chelsea talks. We'll talk about Kovacic. We'll talk about the new sensation recruitment signing Nicolas Jackson, Kai Havertz. We go on Onana and then we'll discuss on Caicedo and we'll discuss on N'Golo Kante. We love you, N'Golo Kante, and we'll get more deep on N'Golo Kante as the video goes on. So the first news I want to discuss today is regarding N'Golo Kante, and we all know N'Golo Kante is about to leave. So before I give my opinion, Ankit Bhai, I want your opinion on this. What do you feel about N'Golo Kante, and should Chelsea have kept him or not?
In my personal opinion, we have like I was talking off stage with Shrey, सब लोग जो देख रहे हैं भाई I hope we can speak in Hindi, right? Everyone in the chat to confirm that. But basically speaking, Chelsea, I would hate to say it, we have become almost like Dortmund, Leipzig, one of those feeder clubs, or rather, clubs which are just siding and then, having transitions every season. Because these are the clubs who kind of have very good transitions. एक प्रॉब्लम है रही चेल्सी में दैट बेसिकली ट्रांजिशन करने के लिए there's always a transition का excuse. That's why we don't do well in that mid season between two good seasons. ठीक है, that's always been a problem in Chelsea in the last decade. Ab N'Golo Kante and even Kovacic will come to. These are, I think, cases where we need to discuss a little bit more because I totally get it. Like Chelsea has been a club, unlike say certain other clubs, we don't block transfers. We are like, if the player who has done so much for the club wants a move, we let him go. Right? That's what we have been. We don't really block transfers at all because there's no point of blocking them. But again, मतलब आई विल डेफिनेटली बी शॉक्ड कि यार एंगोलो कांटे ने बात की है चेल्सी से कि नहीं नो मैटर व्हाट मुझे जाना है मुझे छोड़ना है चेल्सी. आई डोंट थिंक इट्स सच अ मैटर. इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ अस प्लेइंग फीफा इन द लास्ट टू विंडोज बिकॉज ऑफ विच हमारे पास 40,000 प्लेयर्स आ गए. तो अब क्या हो रहा है एज अ रिजल्ट the offers are coming, yes, maybe from Saudi or maybe from Man City or others. They are coming from the clubs or rather the places where they can offer you money, or only for the players who are actually assets to Chelsea. Matlab, how can you lose? Matlab, why are we behaving like we have become a Man City of the recent years? Man City could afford to lose a Gabriel Jesus or Sterling last summer. Matlab, I know Kante is so injury prone, very high on salary. Totally get that, 100% get it, and we have so many players, but we cannot get rid of our core and core together. Definitely transition karna hai. We need to have a new mentality at the club. I totally agree. But if you're telling me N'Golo Kante is someone who doesn't fit into Pochettino's system, I'll be shocked. Aggressive pressing. Well, I'm really shocked that N'Golo Kante at this point in time, first of all, has left Europe. Secondly, that we have not only let N'Golo Kante go, but also looking like letting Kovacic go and Jorginho 6 months ago, plus couple of them to our rivals. Like we have literally again Have we become a Dortmund? Have we become a Dortmund what Dortmund does to Bayern Munich? Have we become a Leipzig that Leipzig does to the entire world? Have we become a Southampton of the mid 2010s? But that's how bad I'm feeling right now, because all of a sudden I'm feeling that we are not a top club who are ready to retain top players irrespective of them being injured, because we need a good squad to come back and win the Premier League. How many of these players are players like Kante who are winners? Kante, Kovacic are winners for you. How can we get rid of them? But again, respect to N'Golo Kante, love him to the core. You know it absolutely. One of the most underrated midfielders, I believe, even in recent times. I don't think the way that N'Golo Kante won us the Champions League is spoken about enough, and that's something that we will definitely miss if we get back to the Champions hopefully next season. But again, it's a great deal. It's a deal which he couldn't say no. It's a deal which Chelsea couldn't say no. But honestly speaking, it's on a free, and that's the saddest part. My love, you at least get something for N'Golo Kante, as in he's one of the generational midfielders of one of a kind. You don't let him go on a free.
Big up Ankit Bhai, and I somewhat agree with your sentiment and somewhat disagree. But before just taking some chats on the chat, somebody is asking the religion. Please, guys, respectfully, this is a football channel, and I won't be asking or telling these questions. So please, respectfully, I won't be answering these questions. Let's have football discussion here. And football-wise, do ask anything you want, but respectfully, we won't be going to that side. So other chat as well, Devesh Bhai in the chat. Big up to Devesh Bhai. Big up to Rin Bhai. People do hit the like, and also in the is given in the comments below description. Ankit Bhai channel, both the channels, Almighty Blues FC and Almighty Sports Plus has the names are there below. Do go to Ankit Bhai channel and subscribe. Some absolute fantastic content there. So do go and subscribe to Ankit Bhai channel and do hit the like on the video. So now coming on to Ankit Bhai on N'Golo Kante wall. I agree with Darren Bhai that we are losing a lot of senior players, and that's a massive worry. Losing a lot of senior players, and that's a massive worry. No problem, what happens. No problem. And Ankit Bhai, like, my only problem with this is, on one hand, we're losing a lot of senior players like Kante, Koulibaly, Kovacic. But on the other hand, Ankit Bhai, I don't even mind a lot of the senior players going, because I think N'Golo Kante playing just 7 games a season, Ankit Bhai, is very, very bad for a player on 300k. I do agree with your sentiment. Are we becoming a Southampton? Are we becoming a Dortmund? But Ankit Bhai, for me, it's about the club. If we go and replace Kante with Caicedo, I will clap for the club. That is the way a top club should proceed. There's no point keeping a player that cannot play a lot of games this season. But now we go and replace Kante by an 18-year-old. Then we cannot expect top 4. We have to lower our expectations down. So for me, it boils down to the players we need. If we get a Caicedo, well done. But if we go and get an 18-year-old, then again, where are we going as a club? Are we going to give Pochettino the patience to again finish 13 next season? Or again, are we going to say Pochettino out when he's sitting 10th in the table? So, Ankit Bhai, last question on this before we go to the next discussion. Who do you think Chelsea should target in the market for you that can replace N'Golo Kante, what he used to do at his prime at Chelsea?
See, as in obviously, like coming back to the point that you mentioned, I think it's about that experience is the miss that I'm talking about, right? It's not about Kante, and I agree with Darren as well. Yahan par. But dekhiye, the 7 to 8 games that Kante has played, those 7 to 8 games, he's still the best midfielder at the club. That's my whole point. So for me, we are not in a comfortable situation where we can afford that. Yes, absolutely. If, say, for example, I'm not saying keep all the experienced guys, but there has to be one experienced head midfield who knows the Chelsea way, who knows how to win, who is a winner and who's a fighter. And if we are able to replace that with someone like, say, maybe Caicedo, great. But is that enough? Probably not. Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo looks great on paper, but when things are basically, say, for example, we are winning a match 2-1, and then basically you need experience for the last 10 minutes in a big game, right? Which might be a decider, say, end of the season, top 4. Just saying. और मे बी द टाइटल चैलेंज आई नो इट्स वेरी ऑप्टिमिस्टिक लेकिन वो हो सकता है राइट जो चीज आर्सेनल में मिसिंग थी एट सम पॉइंट टुवर्ड्स लास्ट सीजन आई थिंक दैट थिंग वी नीड in attack, in midfield, in defense. There has to be sufficient experience who've been there, done that, and that is what Kante Kovacic brings to the table. There again, the names that we are talking about in the market are obviously Caicedo. Ugarte was one that could have come on, like, and again he's not that experienced, and I know why we have not went overboard and we have let it go to PSG. But I think ideal would have been Declan Rice, because he understands Chelsea, understands Premier League. Obviously, it's not realistic because one, Arsenal are going for him a big bid. Second, we do not have Champions League football. Plus, Mason Mount might, not steer Chelsea as well. So I think that would have been ideal. So either I'm asking, I need someone with experience in the Premier League. And when I say experience in the Premier League, I mean experience in the Premier League, literally game week in, week out, and literally who's a leader, which probably Declan Rice would have fitted it absolutely well. Or someone who's won a lot of things, say from abroad, say someone in the mold of a Casemiro. Are so many people available right now? Probably not. You can argue maybe in Amrabat that we were linked with as well. He could be a proper DM. He's a destroyer as well. Amrabat is
Yeah.
okay, is done very well in the World Cup, but again, didn't Ziyech do very well at the World Cup? Again, for someone who watches Serie A very closely, I don't think Amrabat is really raising the level compared to maybe Caicedo, and both are very different players anyway. Again, we are linked to Romeo Lavia, things like them, Manu Kone. Those guys are your let me put you for people who watch Chelsea in the mid 2000s, as in those guys are in the league of say a Lasana Diarra, a Jeremy, who were very good squad players. They were not starters. They were not a Michael Essien of the mid 2000s. We need for us to fight against a Man City, a Manchester United, or Arsenal, or Liverpool. We need someone of that category. And can we pull those players? Real honest answer is no, and that is the whole reason why I do not want all of them to go at once. That's my whole point.
Ankit, I fully agree with that one because Declan Rice is a player I've been saying my mouth out, please get him. But I think even if we can't go for Rice, I think if Chelsea are smart, should we not put a cheeky bid for Palhinha? I think he can do the
Yeah.
role that Kante can do. He's a very, very good player, very underrated player, and an experienced player. And this is what for me Chelsea should do: get a Palhinha and get a young player like Lavia. Let the young guy slowly develop and get the experienced guy at top. But we have to move to other news as well, people. So we'll just take a bit more chats and then we'll go on more topics to come. Bigger to Baga by in the chat, Arsenal fan, bigger brother, and we'll discuss on Havertz later in the video, bro. But I still don't know what's happening with Havertz. But Chelsea is on a sale club right now. We are just on a sale. Like if my house I'm putting rent or sale, is Chelsea is that right now. We are full yard sale right now. Take anyone you want, just pay a bit of penny and you can take away. That's what Chelsea have become. But Ankit bhai, this is a very good question. Like my question to all panelists: will you rank N'Golo Kante all-time midfield history? And we have had some of the best midfielders the world would have seen for me. But I will never put him over Frank. I will never put him over ACN. I think ACN was just a different player at his best. And I won't put him over. I think Balak, at his best, Balak was a better midfielder. At his best, Michael Balak for me was on a different level. But I think overall, at least he will make my top 10. With the history and the way he has done, he will at least be in my top 10. What about you, Ankit bhai?
I think definitely top five. I would put it right up there because the guy has literally won everything almost, right? As in literally everything almost. So I think the fact is, वो जब sign किए थे, we were basically what 10th, and then we signed him, and he changed that midfield altogether. When N'Golo Kante plays in his prime, we know that the team plays well. Simple as that. As in bottom line. The way that he did against Real Madrid, for me, the best moment of Kante, people might not remember, but it's obviously the 2021 Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid. I think he basically beat literally two to three players at once, and there was a ball which it was I think shot from Benzema, which kind of rebounded, and Kante, someone who defended, went on to attack the same ball. So that is like two men on the pitch together. So for me, if you're really asking me to rank, like basically for me, like you said, Essien is one of my all-time favorite Chelsea players, along with Ballack in terms of midfield. Then Lampard, of course. Then Makelele. Again, Lampard, Ballack, a little bit different. I would put Essien, Makelele, and Kante in that DM role. I would really like. I know Kante is not a DM, but he's a destroyer. So I think these five are my top five midfielders for Chelsea.
Absolutely agreed, Ankit bhai. And now it's time to move to the different news now because Chelsea are right now just scattergun right now. We are everywhere around the world. And this is why we are the best club in the world because we are in transfer market of fire. We are a fire that's ignited just after the season ends. And now another massive news coming out. Ange Postecoglou, I'm sorry for the pronunciation if I got it wrong, is interested for Tottenham to get Conor Gallagher. And we know what Conor Gallagher can do. He can cover every acre of the pitch. And Tottenham are really interested in signing Conor Gallagher. On my short opinion, I really rate Conor Gallagher in terms of he is talented. I will never deny it. But I think Conor Gallagher lacks a lot of technicality as a midfielder to play for Chelsea. Now, technicality for me is one thing, even Ankit Bhai, I think, takes a lot of time to improve. And this is why, for me, if Tottenham pay us 50 million, I'll say take it and keep it. But if they pay us 30 and try to lowball us, especially remember, Daniel Levy has always lowballed us. This is one reason. Sell him to Palace, sell him to Newcastle for even 10 million less, but don't sell to the guy who did not allow us to have Luka Modric. I'll never forgive Daniel Levy for not allowing us to have Luka Modric. So this is my opinion on this and Conor Gallagher links. Ankit Bhai, what's your opinion on Tottenham getting linked to Conor Gallagher?
I think again going back to the point of us becoming not just a Dortmund but actually like a Spurs, and for whatever reason, as much as Spurs don't give to the rival clubs, as in the best of the best players of Spurs move on to better clubs, and that's something. And again, Conor Gallagher, I know that he wants to start games. He's an England international, but at the same time, Conor Gallagher absolutely loves Chelsea to bits, and that's a fact. I don't think anyone's denying that. मेरे लिए बहुत ही सरप्राइजिंग होगा दैट कॉनर गैलेगर, मेसन माउंट जैसे डेरिन यहाँ बोल रहे हैं, एज वेल एज बेसिकली मे बी रूबन लॉफ्टस चीक, एज मे बी इवन कैलम हडसन-ओडोई, हम 4-5 जो इंग्लिश कोर है ना चेल्सी का, मतलब आउट ऑफ द 6-7 वी हैव, I will be really shocked if we let go everyone together. Same चीज जैसे मैंने बोला था about the midfield, that core of Chelsea midfield leaving, which won us the Champions League, the Club World Cup, and the Super Cup. That thing, same thing I would say, the English core or the Cobham boys of Chelsea, at some point they did do that as well, right? And like you said, matlab, skill is not something which is easily taught in a short span. But again, you cannot get love or natural fight for the club in a short span. Conor Gallagher, he's done terribly in games last season, but I have seen Conor Gallagher at times play very well, be it at Crystal Palace level, absolutely. Does that mean he's a starter at Chelsea? Absolutely, he's not a starter at Chelsea. Does that mean basically Chelsea will start with the same 11 players in all 38 games of next season? Absolutely not. He is an English guy. He's a Cobham guy. In the future, let's be optimistic, thinking that we'll be back in the Champions League. When you're back in the Champions League, the home quota definitely helps. Plus, the fact that this guy is someone who plays for the badge compared to others. As a sub in a five-man midfield, I don't mind Conor Gallagher. He needs to understand that he has to develop a little bit more. The fact is, we are not having, as in bi-weekly football. We are having only one match a week on average next season. I would say it's best that Conor Gallagher works with Pochettino and the rest of the coaches to actually improve in certain things, and then slowly but steadily come back to the form and confidence that he used to have, say, even 18 months back. People forget it's just not Crystal Palace, West Bromwich Albion, even Charlton. He was one of, if not the best player there. And yes, I know these are mid-table clubs, but the best players in mid-table clubs, I know different kind of football, but they can be good enough squad players for Chelsea, especially if they are common boys, especially if they finish the English quota. So I would say cannot get rid of everyone. Again, the same mistakes. It is not FIFA. It is not FIFA manager. The guy, as in not the guy, the guys, the Leipzig, the Brighton guys that we have as part of the directors, as well as Todd Bali, Bali. That's not how football works. It's very rare that I've seen a club change so much
Yeah.
and then again become stable quickly. No.
But Ankit Bhai,
Remember,
like,
we have
we
Pochettino.
all know
Things will
that
get
Havertz is
haywire if
going,
things go bad.
and Nkunku is most probably going to be Chelsea's number 10. Now, Ankit Bhai, like, let's say Havertz is going to Arsenal. Let's say, assume that he joins Arsenal. Now, Chukwuemeka, he might play number 10, but is he a proper number 10? I'm not fully sure right now. For me, Conor Gallagher is not a number 10, but Conor Gallagher does one thing which Pochettino might really like, which is high pressing football and really pressing all around the pitch. So, Ankit Bhai, like, let's say Tottenham or anyone pays you 45 million, but you lose Havertz, you lose Mason Mount, then what will be your option at that time? Will you still take the 45 million and try to get a Madison for that extra 10-20 million and get James Madison, hijack Newcastle deal? Or will you like to keep Conor Gallagher because of less options we've got right now?
सी आई थिंक हाँ, ऐसे अगर पूछे ना, तो अगर हम कंपेयर करें बिटवीन कॉनर गैलेगर, मेसन माउंट, मैडिसन एंड मे बी इवन यंग गैब्री वेगा, who we are linked to. I know Soboslai भी है, लेकिन Soboslai very expensive है, and say Havertz in the mix. These 6 players, if you tell me, Felix is already gone. So I would say my first priority has to be keep Mason Mount. That has to be my first priority. Yes, I know Manchester United bid has been rejected and we'll be talking about that, but I think there's no two ways about it that we are getting Mason Mount let go on cheap. ठीक है. But if, say, for instance, Mason Mount we are not able to keep, and for whatever reason, then we have to keep Conor Gallagher. It's one of the other. जैसे डेरेन ने बोला था chat में, I think the fact is Conor Gallagher is a poor man's Mason Mount. People forget he is a poor man's Mason Mount. That's exactly how I define him. And you said it right, Shrey, कि कहीं ना कहीं वो जो 4-2-3-1 खिलाते ना Pochettino, the Eriksen role is something that Mason Mount would have done to an extent for sure in that 4-2-3-1 जो Tottenham में किया था. But at the same time, Conor Gallagher, if it worked upon, can become that as an option in the future. Again, why are we only defining ourselves with only the starting 11? We need a squad of fighters. We need a plan B. If, say, instance, say what Conte did with Chelsea when he came. Remember the first couple of games, he did not play three at the back. You never know. We are talking about Tuchel so many times, right? Tuchel, for all we know, Dortmund and PSG did not play three at the back. Chelsea believe in three at the back. That's what has been working for us, whatever be the reason. I won't be surprised if there will be games when Pochettino goes three at the back and we go like a 3-5-2. One of the reasons why he's going for Lautaro Martinez. And I think a 3-5-2, Conor Gallagher can be a poor man's Nicolas Barella and a poor man's Mason Mount. I genuinely believe that. And that is why he should be a squad option as a plan B. Much better than Loftus-Cheek. And again, if you talk about, say, other game names that you said, Madison, good, but Madison is a proper number 10. I don't term him as a number 8. Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher is more like a number 8. Kai Havertz, I would say more like a number 10. Gabri Vega is someone that I don't mind because this is someone who might need time. So that's why वो बार बार start नहीं expect करेगा. So that's something which might work compared to Conor Gallagher. But again, we are losing on the English quota, and which is not something which is good for the long run.
Fully agree, Ankit Bhai, in those terms. But before that, let's take some chats here because people are sending a lot of chats. So we don't want to make you angry. So coming on and taking as much as I don't like Gallagher, but Banda plays his heart out for Chelsea. He's a good squad player. He's committed to Chelsea, unlike Levy Colville, who's working for Brighton. So I do agree on most part because he does give everything for the shirt. And as Ankit Bhai said earlier, he could be a very good squad player to have. But I think we should not be going at Levy Colville because one thing we do have to understand, I was angry at Levy Colville for that tweet as well. But let's be honest, Chelsea also don't treat the youngsters well. So it goes side by side. We also need to show them the pathway because if not for Todd Bowley or Iqbali, Tuchel wanted to get rid of Levy Colville. So I think we also need to understand that youngsters will only respect us when we once give them chances. We have lost Musiala, and if you lose Colville, that's another massive disaster on our heads. And agreed, Ankit Bhai, big up to Keshav in the chat. And big up to Football Crease. People do subscribe to his channel. And this is a good question. I do agree with that one. Then Madison, Caicedo, Lavia. Do you think these three can be an upgrade over Kovacic, Mason, Kante? Dhiren Bhai, you are sending some absolutely juicy chats here because that's a massive upgrade. We should not lie. Caicedo, Lavia. If Lavia develops with the player he can be, and then Madison in the number 10, that's a very good midfield. But there's one problem Ankit Bhai said earlier. Madison is not your proper number 8 in Pochettino's system, and he's not a high runner top number 10. Like, I guarantee you, when Madison plays for Chelsea, there will be comments in the chat that Madison is so lazy. He's so lazy. And that is thing we have to understand. So before we go to the next chat, Ankit Bhai, quickly, your opinion on this one. Is this the upgrade Chelsea should be going in this transfer market?
See, first of all, Dylan, I think I think we have forgotten Enzo for whatever reason in the comment. While I see your comment, absolutely. Madison, Caicedo or Enzo. Lavia, देखो, he's not a starter at Chelsea, bro. As much as वो बहुत promising लगा है, I know Belgian national team में भी हो सकता है he might start in future, but मुझे लगता है he's not a starter yet. I think there are mistakes. जैसे उगाटे का था ना, not week in week out वाला starter वैसे था. I think Palhinha है तो अलग बात है, लेकिन I think Madison, Caicedo, Enzo, I think could arguably be that. If basically, again, Caicedo does more defensive work, लेकिन same चीज, why are we reducing it to basically the defensive work जो Enzo के साथ में किए? तो we need to get someone who is more like a destroyer plus a defensive midfielder, and that's what we need. So I think upgrade तो नहीं बोलूंगा Darren, but definitely मैं बोलूंगा that it is considerable for sure, and that's why we are interested in them. But again, यहाँ पर aren't we going the way of Leipzig, etc.? So I think it's a work in progress वाला चीज clearly, and we are admitting it. I think somewhere down the line, example is Manchester United again. Manchester United last summer, we know that what was the season under Ragnick towards the end of the previous season, right? They found a Casemiro out of nowhere and convinced him and fixed that midfield. I think that is something that will only be a short-term solution, but that is what is needed, to be very honest about it, Darren. Again, a lot of names have been linked with Chelsea. I think the closest which comes to me is Palhinha because he has Premiership experience. But again, is there a winner out there who's available in DM who's ready to not play Champions League football? Probably no. Then we might have to go with it, right? As in, I don't see otherwise. That's what the honest opinion is.
So big up Ankit Bhai, and I hope that's answered the question. And people, before we go to the next news, please do go to the Almighty Blues FC channel, Almighty Sports Plus, and do subscribe to Ankit Bhai channel. Some fantastic content and a lot of things are coming out in the summer. And do hit the like in the stream right now so more people can join us and we can have some great football discussions here. And people, now time to move on to the next news now. Massive news again, and this is regarding should we let Kai Havertz, the Champions League goal scorer, go to a direct rival. And it's breaking news by Fabrizio Romano. Kai Havertz is keen on a move to Arsenal. And as some people say, proper Chelsea. He's keen on move to Arsenal. So let's get that right. Let's have that right. He wants to move to Arsenal and he's not a proper Chelsea. So Ankit Bhai, will you let Kai Havertz go to Arsenal Football Club?
See, firstly, I understand why Havertz might be open to a move. Again, I would like to slightly rephrase that. Kai Havertz has not put a transfer request. First of all, let's get that right. He has not put a transfer request. Kai Havertz, given a chance, would be open for a move, and that is the fact, right? The fact is that now being open for a move is different than looking out of Chelsea. Like Kovacic is almost looking out. Kovacic is going out openly and saying that nahi 5 saal ho gaye yahan par, I always thought that I'll move after 5 years. That's the thing. That's not the thing about Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is someone that is, I think, let's be real. He has highly underperformed at Chelsea. Not a week in, week out player. But in big games, I think he's one of the few people who can say that you can probably have more hope compared to others. Such a guy, exactly the point, big game players that Arsenal have been missing for the last season and a half while they have improved a lot. The big game players. Now, I can see why Arsenal might be interested in him, but probably not at the price because they need that big game mentality sometimes, and he has that, big game mentality at times. But from Kai Havertz's perspective, I don't understand why Arsenal is he open to. Why? Because there is an Odegaard, there is a Saka. If you're telling me that Kai Havertz plays over a Odegaard or Saka, come on. Let's discuss, bro, overnight. Definitely he's not starting in Arsenal. So for him to get a new phase of life at a club which is a rival of Chelsea, right? At a club where they are not winners, and let's get that absolutely right, for him not to start week in, week out is an issue at his age, considering Euros are hosted by Germany next year. So I don't see this happening, to be honest, unless Chelsea get a mad transfer, fee of something like 70 million pounds, which is what I believe the claim is. ठीक है, यहाँ पर मेसन माउंट का 80 million pounds हम मांग रहे, Havertz का 70 million pounds मांग रहे. Realistically, probably 60 million pounds is what Chelsea, because for Real Madrid we were open, we might let him go. But again, why are we letting players go to Arsenal? They are not at the end of the career. Like when I can understand why Petr was let go. That was the one off. भाई जो Arsenal हमारे साथ करती थी वो हम कर रहे really. Like the way that they let Fabregas go by not getting him back because they had a buyback. They let Ashley Cole go. They let Olivier Giroud go. These are things which I think I don't associate with Chelsea as much as we respect the player for what he's done, for the little that he's done. Either ways, I don't believe that Havertz should go to Arsenal either ways. Or even Havertz is shocked too. That why would he be open to Arsenal when they have a Odegaard and Saka who are definitely starting 30 out of 38
Yeah.
games in a Premier League season, despite having Champions League.
So big up Ankit Bhai. I'll just take a one comment I want to say. Just suppose you have been irritating me for the next 3 or 4 days. I bared you, and now you're coming in here and saying it's boring. Please, my brother, grow up. On this channel, I've always maintained a policy. I will not try to ban anyone. I will always welcome anyone. But you're the first guy who has made me decide to ban you. And please don't come again back here and don't irritate me again. I was trying to be kind. I was trying to be understanding, but now it's gone beyond the limit. So if you're watching by any other mobile or account, please just get away now. So that's a bit of a thing for you. And people, please do try to be respectful in the comments. And I never try to ban anyone. But this is one user I've got irritated for a very, very long time. So now on Kai Havertz, I do agree with the comment Ankit Bhai you made. That I really don't understand as well. They have Odegaard as well who can play that role. But I think Ankit Bhai is more to do with the failure of Fabio Vieira. I think because Arsenal are playing in the Champions League next season, and this season they're really heavily dependent on Odegaard to play every game. I think he might be trying to shift to a bit of 4-3-3 for me, Mikel Arteta, Ankit Bhai. Like with Declan Rice, with most probably, let's say they get a Partey, I wouldn't be surprised they play Odegaard Havertz like City do with Bernardo and Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva in 2 3 years back. They try to play Odegaard and Havertz. They play Rice as a DM, and then they play Saka, Martinelli, and Gabriel Jesus. I won't be surprised with that, Ankit Bhai. Kai Havertz playing more like a number 8 and making the runs forward. Odegaard playing as a number 8 as well, and Rice there to protect the defense along with Ben White, who is defensively solid. So, Ankit Bhai, on final question on Kai Havertz, do you think that this could happen, that they try to follow the Manchester City 4-3-3 model, which they used to do earlier in the season?
No, it's quite possible. In fact, they have played that as well. If you remember, parts of last season, they did play that as well. A lot of times, Odegaard was playing much deeper and almost like a 4-3-3. They were playing with Granit Xhaka playing on the leftish number 8, position. If Granit Xhaka wasn't there, there used to be obviously Malab Zinchenko. Some at times when Tierney used to be a left back. So they have played that. So it's not something new. That's my whole point. I understand Granit Xhaka, left-footed midfielder, going right, but these are two different players. We're talking Granit Xhaka and Kai Havertz altogether. So I don't think you can relate the two. I know कहीं ना कहीं आर्सेनल को ज़्यादा height और physicality भी चाहिए. I know that for a matter of fact, and that is why Kai Havertz might help them. But again, I'll be surprised if you go for a 4-3-3. I would actually even consider playing Trossard as a number 8, who has done that for Brighton. Trossard has done that as well. Remember that he does not play only as a number 8, a false 9, or a number 10, or a winger. He's in my opinion, he could play as a proper number 8 as well. So I think in terms of quality, I'll be really surprised if Kai Havertz starts, say, even 25 games, including the Champions League games, starts, I'm saying, right? So if you have a 50-game season, will he even start half the games? That's my question. And remember, he is someone who would definitely like to be informed, considering Euros are in Germany next season. So I again feel that answer is a no from me. I don't think this should happen, and this is not good for Havertz. It's not good for Chelsea. It might be only good for Arsenal, but again, could Arteta keep them all happy? Like we're all thinking that he will. Come on, guys, Arsenal fans, look away. The fact is, why is Chelsea and Arsenal? Yes, I know as much as these are two clubs with much better history, and I love my club absolutely to bits. But why are these clubs behaving like they've already achieved what Man City has achieved in the last 6 years? Why are we behaving that way? Arsenal are trying to build a squad as though they'll be able to manage everyone. Pep Guardiola managing such a big squad is manageable. I don't think Arteta will be able to, in my personal opinion. And same thing about Chelsea. Why are we, letting go players basically to our rivals that Man City did last season? Very, very surprising with that. Very, very surprising.
Agree with that, Ankit Bhai. And now taking some charts, people. So first of all, coming on Havertz, and was my problem as where will he fit at Arsenal? But for me, Devesh Bhai, I think he might be played as a 4-3-3 along with Odegaard in games where they play low blocks, like what Manchester City prime Pep Guardiola's system in Centurion season used to do with Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva. That is the thing I think he's trying to build. We all know that Arsenal have a lot of footprints the way City play, and they are the most similar team, and both the teams are just amazing to watch when at the best. And Kesha brother, big up Kesha Bhai. I think amended a mistake by extending Saliba contract. That is massive, Kesha Bhai, because Saliba for me is one of the best young centre back in the world. And I made a video earlier as well that Arsenal 5 things learned from the campaign, and I said they have the best young centre back duo in the world, Gabriel and Saliba. They are going to play together for the next 7 or 8 years. Arsenal have the future sorted. It's about keeping these players. You have had so many Robin Van Persie, Samir Nasri. It's time for Arsenal to change the DNA. And I think the board with extending Saka's contract, Martinelli contract, and Saliba contract have done it. And this is one I'll ask Ankit Bhai. जैसे पास में एशली कोल ने छोड़कर गलती किया था वो सलीबा के साथ ना हो तो अंकित भाई like Saliba is right now staying, so what do you have opinion on the Saliba contract issues, Ankit bhai?
No, I think Saliba is exchanging with Arsenal, right? That's the latest that I heard, Keshav. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I don't think there's an issue there. Only for me, Jada, if you're an Arsenal fan, I'll be concerned that why are you letting Partey go? There is news that Thomas Partey might go. I don't understand why that is coming about. Is it because of the allegations that were there, which was not again proven? I think around the World Cup time, I remember that similar to Mason Greenwood almost. So that was something that Arsenal may be looking at, because I think one point that Shrey had about that 4-1-2-3, or you can say a 4-3-3 with Declan Rice and maybe Jorginho in a games where you just want to control being that DM. So that rotation could be, but again, I don't agree with the fact that Fabio Vieira has been tried enough. Reece Nelson is someone that is good for Arsenal. So I think these are players that remember, we forget Emil Smith Rowe. He's hardly played football in the last year. these are players that Arsenal cannot just keep happy on the bench. So I am really surprised by the entire story of Arsenal. But again, it is real if Fabrice Sharman is saying it. अब वो क्यों हो रहा है? Maybe it's the agents, working their ass off. Maybe that's what is happening.
And can Poch try 4-3-3 with Nkunku and false nine? For me, football crease, brother, that is a choice we can make, but Pochettino is a person that really wants to play a 4-2-3-1, and Nkunku has a striker. I think if we do that, we are wasting another good player. We wasted Havertz playing false nine. I hope we don't do it with Nkunku. As much as I've watched of Nkunku, he's a player that can play very well behind a striker and try to be the shadow striker, number 10, and play different roles. He's not a striker. And please, Chelsea Football Club, I beg you, if you can't sign a striker, just go and get Mitrovic, but at least respect the striking position. Stop these experiments and using player out of the position. And I hope Chelsea don't do this. And Shway Ankit Bhai, don't you think the transfer to Arsenal doesn't make sense considering Kai Havertz flopped in a 4-3-3 under Frank Lampard? But again, Dhiren Bhai, that's no disrespect. Our super legend Frank Lampard, but Mikel Arteta is a way better manager than Frank Lampard, and I don't think that can be comparable. And now, as Ankit Bhai has to go, we'll quickly move on to the other news, and then I'll take more chats. And Ankit Bhai, the next news is new Chelsea, as I put it here. Sources have confirmed that Chelsea are not working on signing Mbappe. We don't need an ego. We don't need a big man. We are rebuilding a new young project, under 21 Chelsea in the future. This is the new Chelsea, people. Embrace it. Your opinion, Ankit Bhai?
No, it's a good thing, but problem is like पहले हम FIFA खेल रहे थे basically on signing players. Now we are playing FIFA on getting rid of players. So there has to be a balance. There I would still say, knowing Chelsea and knowing the Chelsea fan base, for whatever reason, I think एक marquee signing तो चाहिए. मतलब that's simple as that. I think that's something. Otherwise, uh, the atmosphere in Stamford Bridge under Pochettino, I can imagine when things go bad how it will be. I think एक चाहिए. Yes, you can argue we have got Enzo Fernandez to some extent. You can say Mudryk. We have got basically a few signings in the last couple of windows. Absolutely, I get that. But I still feel that one signing again. I won't be surprised if say striker की बात हो रही थी ना. I won't be surprised if we go back for a Vlahovic. And we go back big. I believe there are talks going on. I know that आज बात हो रही थी on Nicolas Jackson, but again, while I'm happy that we are linked with names which are not like just big names, लेकिन again, are they proven enough? It's like too raw, and it's like, are we in a position to take that amount of risk considering that we are we are what, we finished 12th and we are trying to get back to Europe? I don't think so. Unfortunately, हमें लेना पड़ेगा. I'm not saying Mbappe, obviously वो तो realistic है ही नहीं, but people who are say coming from different leagues but have proven well at say international level or maybe in the league for at least a couple of seasons, हमें चाहिए वैसे थोड़ा सा. I would also not mind something like a Jonathan David, for example. Just saying, not too bad, but again, someone who can basically be that experience link up as things go by. Just say Manchester United. I know people did not like Devesh as a Manchester United fan. Wout Weghorst, I know it's कहीं ना कहीं आप बोलोगे it's a flop, but Wout Weghorst coming in and basically just playing a role in a few games helped initially, and that is something I would not mind saying going to a Ivan Toney, even though he's banned for first half of the season, if I remember right. I think that is what Fulkrug again. Devesh, I don't think he's proven consistently over more than 2 years. He's not like a associate नहीं करते हो, he's like a wow, as in he's a proper goal scorer. Vlahovic से वो हम कर रहे थे. I know Vlahovic बहुत expensive होंगे compared to Fulkrug, but I'm just saying Tony का we have seen that in the Premier League. So I think those names are something that I would go with.
Tony का, like, do you are not concerned regarding ban में no football practice, fitness नहीं है, so is it a side right signing for Chelsea to go, like, in terms
See
of
that
fitness?
exactly. So that is Pochettino's job. और the fact is, आप अगर Premier League proven ला रहे हो, better है compared to someone who's not proven even at La Liga level. देखिए मतलब Nicholas Jackson, for the little I watched, is good, but he's not someone who takes a lot of shots. हमें वो चाहिए proper, एक proper natural goal scorer चाहिए. He gets, I think 1 in 3 matches उसने score किया है. He's one. Again, David Dato Fofana ही हम try कर सके, Broye try कर सके ना. मतलब he's that level of player, very good potential, but not there yet. मतलब we already have a couple of them in Broya and David Dato Fofana. We needed the third guy if he's coming as a number 9, someone who's proven in the Premier League level, even though हमें रखना पड़े for a few months with Broya, etc. And that's what I would say. Even say Mitrovic, considering इसका जो है off the pitch issues है, मतलब in terms of red cards and all, वो है issue. Lekin we need someone like that who actually is just a proven goal scorer and in the league ideally or at that level for at least a couple of seasons. And that's what these names are. थोड़ा सा और safe bets है right now. But again, अब चांस ले रहे तो ले रहे भाई. पॉजिटिनो पर सब निर्भर है. I think it's down to him now. Let's see.
Absolutely agreed, Ankit Bhai. And I think Chelsea need to go for a more finished output. And before I give my opinion on Mbappe, I know Ankit Bhai has to go because Ankit has a stream people just right now in just 20 minutes at UEFA Nations League, Netherlands with Croatia at Almighty Sports Plus. So people, before Ankit Bhai goes, please go to the channel, do hit the like button on a video, do subscribe to the channel, and do hit the bell notification button. And you'll just go and see right now at Almighty Sports Plus. You'll see me as well, Netherlands versus Croatia watch along. Ankit, by your final words before we meet again in 20 minutes time.
Right. First of all, absolutely there we are again going to discuss transfers. I know nations is to bahana hai, lekin we are going to discuss all the transfers and whatever is left out as well as I'll take your opinion as well as your opinion everyone. Lekin हाँ, simple fact being that अभी transfer window just शुरू है. Lot of things will happen अभी भी. So don't be surprised with even more news coming in. Again, देखिए बहुत बार क्या होता है, we are rumored to basically sign a player or maybe we are rumored to sell a player. That's one thing. Even the player agreeing terms or wanting to go is one thing, but the bottom line is that the player and the clubs both have to agree. That thing, realistically, I don't see a window where how can Pochettino come knowing that the core of Chelsea in Kovacic, Kante, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, even to some extent Ruben Loftus-Cheek, considering the English core, Conor Gallagher, like all these six people leaving together. I don't see that happening. मुझे लगता है that maybe we might let 3 of the 6 go or maybe even 4. Like in a couple of them we might have to just have them stay around or maybe try and get one experienced DM experienced in the Premier League like a Caicedo. That would be the best case scenario right now who could play both the roles, number 8, number 6, as well as an experienced striker, ideally in the Premier League like a Tony or a Mitrovic. We, for whatever reason, we're not going for any more. But again, faith in Pochettino right now. Have patience. Goalkeeper situation, I believe, is happy with Kepa, so I'm okay with that. Onana, देखते आता है कि नहीं.
So absolute big up Ankit Bhai and see you. Thank you so much Ankit Bhai to be here again. Absolute pleasure Ankit Bhai.
See you guys. सब लोग यार
Thank you so
like
much.
button hit कर दो और juice stick around. I think Shrey is continuing and see you on Almighty Sports
Yeah.
at 11:45. Bye guys.
Thank you, Ankit Bhai. So, people, now continuing on Mbappe and my opinion on Kylian Mbappe. See, many people are not going to like this and not going to agree. I really love Kylian Mbappe. I love him. He's such a top class player, and I'm going to say it. He's right now one of the best young player. You can say the young best player right now in the world with Vinicius Junior and Erling Haaland. You just cannot say no to a player of this talent. He is one of the best player right now in the world. But now, where my problem with Mbappe is, where I'm being very, very honest, the thing is, it's not to do with attitude. Many people are going on, Mbappe, his attitude is not good enough for Chelsea. He won't work well at Chelsea. He won't care about Chelsea. No, that's not the reason I don't want him, because I will never say no to one of the generational talent and one of the best player in the world. But the problem is, Chelsea is right now at a rebuilding phase. We just finished 12th in the league. We don't have a striker. We don't have a goal scoring winger. We don't have a center midfielder. We don't have a proper cam. We don't have a proper DM. We don't have a proper goalkeeper. And if we try to sign Mbappe, first of all, Mbappe will be idiot to join us. He has club like Real Madrid interested in him. There might be interest from, you can say, Arsenal as well. He still won't choose Arsenal respectfully. He is hell-bent to go Real Madrid. He will be going to Real Madrid. Why will he join Chelsea, who are in tatters right now? Kylian Mbappe is a world-class player who needs to play with top-class wingers, top-class midfielders, top-class attacking midfielders, and especially has pointed by the chat, no Europe. And nobody can guarantee Chelsea will get Europe next season. Mbappe was approached to Chelsea Academy, yeah. Keshav, bro, thank you so much to remind that. It still hurts me to this day. Mbappe to Arsenal, who started that rumor? No, I was just giving an example that even he might not go to Arsenal respectfully because Real Madrid is a club he will love to go because that's where he will get Galactico, the media, the attention, the trophies to play with players like Osimhen, Bellingham, Camavinga, Chumeni, Valverde. Why will he come to Chelsea? Why? There's no midfielder. We don't have a cam. We don't have a proper, you can say right now, left back. We don't have proper wingers. We don't have a striker. He isn't coming to Chelsea to play with no striker. He will be going to Real Madrid to play with Osimhen. And true, Madrid is the only destination. Fully agreed, mate. And now taking some chance before I move to the next news. Shrey bhai, come to Mumbai next season. साथ में हारने का FC देखेंगे. Sure bro, I will be there someday and will meet you today, bro. And taking some more chance people which I would have missed earlier. And Shrey and Ankit bhai, how Openda as a player, पूरा fan base is talking for him in Twitter. मैंने बोला हुआ बीच वाला नहीं चाहिए. I want to know your opinion on that. I don't know, brother, but I just saw a bit of videos. I won't say much. But Nicolas Jackson is a player recruitment team is after, and I will again and again say, if you are not sure on a player, there's nothing bad in going for a cheeky move for Mitrovic. I don't think there's nothing bad in that. And Newcastle is closing on Barella. I think if Newcastle get it with Bruno Guimaraes, with players they've got, it's going to be a problem for all of us. It's going to be a massive problem for all of us. And Arsenal, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, to be really honest. And now that makes me move on to another news. So before I go to the next news, people, do hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And coming on to the next news, this is regarding Levy Colville and the drama that's going on right now with Levy Colville. Brighton don't feel they're wasting their time with bidding for Colville, especially because of Chelsea's interest in Caicedo. It puts them in a strong negotiation position. This is by Parker Turner. Now, I'll say on the source, people, I'm not fully sure. I don't know about this source, but we all know Brighton have been haggling us with the bids, 25 million, 30 million, 35 million, 40 million, and Brighton could go maximum to 45 million as per the news. And we all know Chelsea are massively interested in signing Moses Caicedo. So Brighton might try to use the opportunity to again and again and again scam us the way they did with Cucurella, the way they have done with Graham Potter, the head coaches, the money they've right now taken from us. That is the way Brighton really function, people. And we need to be very, very careful. Being very honest, people, I think it's about time for Chelsea to really have a bit of understanding with Brighton in terms of we aren't a club you can scam again and again. And I think Chelsea need to be strong and Chelsea need to be understanding for me. We just cannot go on being weak again and again and again. We just cannot go like this. And this is why, people, for me, it's very, very important for Chelsea to not fall under the pressure of Brighton. And for me, tell them straight away, we'll get Caicedo, we'll pay the money you want, and we'll also keep Levy Colville. I think that has to be the case. And also, Levy Colville is one of the best young centre-backs you will have in the league. And I think if Chelsea really try to get rid of Levy Colville, we are absolute idiots. Levy Colville might not really please people with the tweets he's doing and everything. I do agree. He should be more careful. But we cannot deny the talent Levy Colville is, the player Levy Colville is, and what a great partnership Levy Colville and Fofana can form in the future. Baria Shele, Chalobah, and if we get one more centre-back, Chelsea have a very, very good centre-back future. And I think Levy Colville is at the centre of them. And Pochettino really loves Levy Colville. And I think it's time for Chelsea to back the manager. And we should do everything we can to keep Levy Colville and sign Caicedo. Shrey, if I was Chelsea, I will speak with Levy if you want to stay good. If no, then yeah, with that I agree. I think Chelsea do need to have a talk with Levy Colville. If he wants to stay, we should keep him at any cost. But if he forcefully wants to go, then I think we should just let him go, to be honest. And now, Brighton, what do you think? You can get Colville, forget about it. Fully agree with that one, mate. Chelsea just pay 80 million, add 5 million add-ons to push a bid front. Fully agreed. I think if we really want Caicedo, if you really think Caicedo is the next big midfielder, I think pay any money you can want. You will get 60 million for Mount, put it straight away for Caicedo, and put extra 20 million. I think the club need to work very carefully in the market. The club need to go heavily for the players we want. And when we can get 50-60 for Kai Havertz, 50-60 for Mason Mount, 40-50 for Gallagher, we need to sign midfielders of top quality, not any low quality than these players. And we need to go for top quality players. And Shrey bhai, last season I loved Brighton as a team. Now I hate them. Yeah, I do hate them. If Doreen bro, you saw their tweet when they were saying Chelsea have only one chance, Chelsea, I've started hating them. And I want us to play them at the first game of the season and Pochettino to destroy them. But that's just a dream, Doreen Bry. And tomorrow the fixture list is coming out as well. So people do keep checking it out. I'll make a video on that as well. And now coming on to the next news. Should Chelsea keep Mount? And is 70 million valuation by Chelsea correct for Mason Mount? The impasse over Mount's value created a window of opportunity for Chelsea to try to reopen contract talks, but it is understood that Manchester United are confident that Mason Mount will not sign a new deal. And see, people, being very, very honest, on this channel I've always said Mason Mount is very underrated. I love Mason Mount. And I think Mason Mount would have been a fantastic player for us in the Pochettino system. But I will always say one thing: no player is bigger than the club, and players do have a life as well. Players do have personal ambition as well. And if Mason wants more wages, he wants more respect. I fully respect him. I'll always love him for the Champions League victory, being the first proper youth player to break at Chelsea. I'll always love Mason Mount, and if he wants to go, he can go. I will also say one thing: Mason Mount is a fantastic player, but Mason Mount is no Eden Hazard. Mason Mount is a player you can easily replace if you sign the right player. And I think if we use the Mason Mount money to sign Caicedo, if we use the Mason Mount money to sign another top midfielder, then I think it's not going to be a problem. I do agree with Darren Bhai. For me, I will love to keep Mason. But if Mason wants to really go, he wants big wages, and the club wants to go for Caicedo, then I have no problem with Mason going. And they paid 90 for Anthony, who isn't worth that much, max 50, so they can pay 70 for mine. I do agree with that one that Chelsea need to get the best out of United in the money. We cannot make ourselves weak. Just because we have to sell our players, we don't need to look like idiots. We need to get every penny out of our resource. You have to see how many value British players are right now. If Conor Gallagher is worth at 45 million, Mason Mount is at least 65 million worth. And we need to make Manchester United go for him. We need Manchester United to pay 65 million, or else we'll sell him to another club. I think Chelsea need to be strong in negotiation. We should not look weak. If we start looking weak in negotiations, we are going to get scammed by everyone in the market. Brighton did it. Inter Milan are doing us, getting Lukaku on loan, getting Koulibaly on loan, selling us Lukaku for 100 million. It's time for our football club to be strong in negotiations. Don't look weak. And I think that is the thing Chelsea need to do to strive ahead. And Mount Komat Janido, I do agree with Keshav, bro, with that one. But if he doesn't want to stay, and you are also getting 65, 70 million, and you want more players like a Caicedo, you want to sign players like more midfielders, then I think we need to understand that sometimes we might need to let the player go. Everybody knows how much I love Mason Mount, how much I will love Mason Mount to stay here. I love Mason Mount as a player a lot, but being very honest, if you're getting 70 million in the market, Mason Mount doesn't want to stay here, he's asking for big wages, then there's nothing bad in letting him go to Manchester United, respecting him for what he did at Chelsea, and getting the 70 million and using that on a player like Caicedo or even the Declan Rice and improving the midfield, which has been Chelsea's massive problem. And Liverpool, if you still want Mount, feel free to come in the race too. But I think, brother, they won't go for him. They got McAllister, and now they're getting linked to James Ward-Prowse. They're still in for Thuram, Kone. So I think that's where Liverpool are going right now. And we got over Prince, who's Messi. Yeah, Eden Hazard was something else. We cannot compare anyone to Eden Hazard, what he provided, the footballer he was. Mason Mount is a fantastic footballer, but he's a footballer you can still replace. Eden Hazard was a king you just could not replace, and the king just got diminished at Real Madrid. I'll always love him, but that was one of the worst career choices you'll see. And now going on to the next one, but just going on, is 70 million valuation correct by Chelsea to demand? Yes, it is correct. If players in British market go for big money, if Cucurella for having one good season can demand 60 million, Mason Mount has been performing consistently for 4-5 years. He's a young British lad, and I think we should be demanding at least 65-70 million, and we are in the right to demand that because he's a Premier League experienced player. He's also a British lad. He's an experienced player in this league. He has consistently performed for 3-4 years. He's a massive loss for us because we have to replace him in the market, and I think he's fully worth for that. And fully agree with this one, brother. And now going on to the next one. Should Chelsea let another experienced player leave? Green light from Inzaghi, the Inter Milan coach, to try and get Kalidou Koulibaly on loan. Now people on this channel will know that I've always said I will give a new player one season time before I judge them. I don't have any problem with Koulibaly. Instead, I will love to see him in the Pochettino. I will love to see him do well. And I think Koulibaly is a good player. He's not a bad influence in the dressing room. He's a nice person and can be a good player for us. And I think letting everyone go could be a disaster for Chelsea. Where the reports are coming out that Mauricio Pochettino does not want Koulibaly in his style. He wants to have a young, quick centre-back, and players like Trevor Chalobah, Wesley Fofana, Colville, Badia Shele already fulfill that. And we also have Empado, who is coming back from loan. So I love Kalidou Koulibaly as a player, as a person, and I will love for him to stay. I do not make judgment on him on one season, which was every Chelsea player was bad. I will love to give Koulibaly a chance. But being very, very honest, people, if the manager doesn't want him, I will let him go. I will back the manager. It's time for Chelsea to back the manager. And if the manager doesn't want to keep him, I'll let him go. But I'll just say one thing. Letting him go on loan is again a disaster. We paid 33 million to sign this guy until Inter Milan pay us all the wages and pay us 5 to 6 million to get him on loan. I think Chelsea are getting scammed again. We need to be strict with the clubs and strictly tell them pay us the money or we won't send you on loan. I think again and again we are becoming Inter scammers. We are absolutely getting scammed by Inter. We got them Lukaku on loan. They sold us Lukaku for 100 million, and now we easily give them Koulibaly on loan when we pay 33 million for him. I think we need to be much better in the transfer market, and we need to ask the full price. And I think Cooley one more season. I fully agree with that one. But brother, the reports are coming that Pochettino doesn't want him. So I'll back the manager, and if manager doesn't want him, I'll let him go, but not on loan. I think again and again we get scammed. We need to get at least some transfer value out, whether it's 18 million, 15 million, 20 million. I think we need to get a transfer value and not sell for a free or a loan. That will be disastrous. And if Ben White went to Arsenal for 50, then Mount can be sorry for 70. Fully agree with that one, mate. And I think Pulisic and Hudson must leave. I think they will be leaving as well. I think Pulisic for me is a talented player, but it's not just work for him at Chelsea. So I think it's best for both the parties to part ways. He can go elsewhere and play, and Chelsea can go for new player. And Callum Hudson-Odoi was such a good youngster, but that injury just destroyed him. And I think it's better for his career to go to a more lower club, develop his career and get it back on track. And it's important for Chelsea to not keep players who are not going to reach their potential. And I think it's better for us and the player's career as well that both of them leave the club. Now coming on to the next one, that is, should Chelsea try to keep or sell Romelu Lukaku? Al Hilal tried to convince Lukaku in a meeting yesterday. Yearly wages of 71.4 million was mentioned, but his priority is Inter Milan. Now, people being very honest, first of all, I think a lot of people have made their judgments on Lukaku by seeing the miss. That was a horrific miss. You cannot excuse Romelu Lukaku in the big games goes empty, but that doesn't mean he's not a good striker. But I will just say one thing, that his attitude, the way he let the team down, the way he said the things in interview, is very difficult to come back after that. Rene Xhaka came back at Arsenal after throwing his shirt away in anger, but that has happened very rarely in football. Very, very rarely in football. I think if Pochettino wants to keep Lukaku, I have no problem. But I will always have doubt over Lukaku's attitude. And if he again and again keeps on saying, I want to stay at Inter, stay at Inter, stay at Inter, then why you want to have a player that doesn't have any connection with your place, doesn't want to stay here? So I think we need to understand that if Lukaku really wants to go, then we need to find a club for him. But if Pochettino convinces him, then I have no problem. But one thing we need to be certain, no more loans, transfer fee and nothing. Even if you get 20 million, take it. But no more loans. We need to get rid of him for good or either keep him. Not just loans and being scammed by every club in the world. We need to be strict, sell him or keep him. That's the way for me Chelsea have to go. And if Lukaku doesn't want to oblige with it, get him to the under 21s, throw him out of the team and tell him a lesson and make him learn a lesson. And that interview ended our trust in him. Fully agree with that one. It's very difficult for any player to come back after that, especially for a player of personality of Romelu Lukaku. And they want three players of a team and they can get them all and get Onana for a cut price. Yeah, I think this could be a negotiation tactic. Chelsea might try to get Onana and might try to put a Lukaku or another player in the exchange. This is a big, big possibility, mate. And Onana might stay at Inter now. Kepa has first choice room, but I do agree with that one because it's coming in news that Chelsea might try to keep Kepa as backup. But Kesha, bro, that's only in case we cannot get Onana. If Chelsea do not sign Onana, then Kepa will stay at club. If Chelsea do get Onana, don't even then be surprised we keep Kepa because Mendy most probably will leave the club. And the interview was explosive, especially made the way he was saying he wants to go to Real, Bayern, Inter. I think that was insulting. I want to give Lukaku a bit of trust. I do want to back Pochettino. And if Pochettino wants to play Lukaku, I'll respect it. But I will never forget that words. I want to go to Inter. I want to go to Real. I want to go with Bayern. You are a Chelsea employee. You're working at Chelsea. We are paying your money. And that's the way you're treating us. And they could get Mendy as well. Yeah, we might add Mendy in the exchange as well. So I think this could be a very interesting window with Inter Milan. And now, Chelsea are tracking Nicolas Jackson, but no decision made at this stage. People, I won't lie, I've only watched comps, I've not watched this player, so I don't have any judgment. But what I can say is he a very, very raw and young player. So if we get Nicolas Jackson, you cannot demand him straight away score 15, 20 goals. This is a long-term process. And as you can see in the heading, young and recruited stars, this is the new Chelsea. I've been warning you people for a long time that Todd Bowley is trying to build a young team where in the future, when he will build a new stadium for around 1 to 1.5 billion, he won't put a penny into the club. These young players will develop and Chelsea will easily be a proper top four club. That is the plan of Todd Bowley. And I think if we can really furnish it with some experienced players, this is not a bad project. I think these youngsters are the players we need to go after. These are some very good youngsters who can really blossom at Chelsea, but we need to give them experienced players alongside them. I think Nicolas Jackson is a very good young player we can use. He can use his left foot, he can use his right foot. He is physically good, he can dribble well. He's a very good youngster, and as signing a new recruitment team need, they already brought Badiashile, who has been successful, Enzo, who has been successful. David Dr. Fofana is young, and the players they are getting have a lot of potential. So I'll back them, and I'll give young Jackson a chance, and I will love to see him at the club. But we have to be patient with this young guy. And I think if we make an all 11 of under 21, then just like Arsenal, we need to accept 1 or 2 seasons of 8, and then we can go to the top heights. Next season, if we sell all our players and sign young players, we need to have an expectation of top 7. Otherwise, if Chelsea brings some experienced players, then we can expect a top 4. I think if Todd Bowley and the new management team can bring these youngsters, develop them in a good environment, and bring 1 or 2 senior players at least, I think Chelsea are really building something great for the future. But if we do not bring any experienced head, we have Nicolas Jackson, we have Nkunku, we have young midfield, we have a young defense with Colville and Fofana, we have Luis Hall at the left, we have Gusto at the right if James is injured, then that could be a problem. But also I will say with Malo Gusto, will Levi Colville, will Luis Hall, will Badiashile, with Fofana, with you can say players like Chukwuemeka, with Enzo Fernandez, there's so much potential that in 2 or 3 years' time, we will be in the title race. But for that, we fans need to give a lot of patience and a lot of time. Chelsea should try to target Bruno Guimaraes. Football Creeks, bro, he's a top midfielder and he's playing a Champions League football. He won't come to Chelsea right now. And if you try to sign him, it's going to cost us minimum 50, 60 million. And I think if you can get Caicedo for 70, 80, that should be the priority for us. Yeah, he's a young kid who we're trying to sign as per the recruitment teammate. And Okoke Shrebai, Onana can come as we are targeting Jan Somar. I think Jan Somar is another top keeper. Being very honest, he's another top keeper. And I think it would be a good signing if Onana comes to Chelsea. Then it could be a good signing for Inter. I think this is a very good shout made, but I think Real Madrid won't let him go. Real are trying to build a future team with Valverde, Tchouameni, Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Osimhen, and Mbappe. And I think they're going to keep all these youngsters and going to build something amazing for the future, along with players like Kamavinga as well, with players like Militao, the players they've got. I think they're building a very good team for the future, and they won't let these players go. And coming on to the next one, this is Caicedo, a priority. Chelsea are working hard behind the scenes to sign Moses Caicedo. If people have watched, do go and watch my shorts on Moses Caicedo versus Declan Rice. I think Caicedo is a player we need to be fully after. Declan Rice is my dream, but I think with Champions League football he wants, I think he won't be coming to us, and Arsenal have already agreed personal terms. So I think Moses Caicedo is the one, and I think he's a top midfielder what he provides. Sometimes people say that a player has a one wonder season. Is it too much of a risk to sign him after one good season? Yes. But Moses Caicedo has attributes, the way he covers the ground on the pitch, the way he wins the ball back, his passing, he can play as a DM, he can play as a number 6, he can play as a number 8, he can play as a right back. I think Moses Caicedo can do what N'Golo Kante used to do for us and could do even better. I think this should be a player stylistically in Pochettino style, where he used to have hard-working players who used to cover a lot of ground, win the ball, and have a good ability on the ball. I think Moses Caicedo can do what you can say Dembele used to do in Tottenham system. And I think we need to sign Moses Caicedo, a very young player, a very good player, and a dream signing for me. Declan Rice was the most dream signing, but that's out of the window, people. And Onana, best goalkeeper Chelsea must sign. And Chelsea want a goalkeeper highly skilled in distribution. Onana is high on the list along with Maignan and Raya and Meslier. If we really go for Meslier, we are absolutely idiots. We are idiots if we sign Meslier. The guy cannot even stop a shot. His distribution is good, but the guy cannot even stop a shot. David Raya is a very good keeper for 40 million. But if you've got Onana in the market for 55, 60, you pay the extra 15 to get Onana. Onana is a better shot stopper than Raya. He's a better ball distributor than Raya. Raya is a good cheap keeper, but Onana is better than him. Maignan for me is even going to cost more than Onana. And I think right now in the market, Onana is the best goalkeeper Chelsea can sign, and he can be a massive player for us in the future. I think this is the guy we should be really after. Try to use Romelu Lukaku, Loftus-Cheek, Chalobah. If Chelsea are selling him, I will love to keep him in the deal to get Onana, even a Koulibaly. But I think this should be a player who should be a target. And if he's a goalkeeper, Caicedo, we get Nkunku is already coming. We get one more top player. I think if not next year, after that, Chelsea are going to be a very serious team. And I love Kepa Arrizabalaga, but Onana is thrice, 4 times the keeper he will be. And Onana is one of the best goalkeepers in the world right now. And Chelsea going for Meslier is a good man. No. Pickford is much better, bro. Keshav Pickford is much better than Meslier. There's no comparison. Meslier is one of the worst shot stopper I've seen, bro. I think Pickford at least is a very good shot stopper. And I think Pickford makes a lot of sense than Meslier, to be honest. I won't have Pickford at Chelsea any day, but Pickford is 100 times a better keeper for me than Meslier. And Meslier for me is a very bad choice if you go. And if you go, I have to back him, but that will be a very bad choice. Do you fancy Newcastle as a new challenger? Football freaks, first of all, congrats on winning the Champions League. And to be really honest, I think Newcastle won't be next year, bro. I think that's too early. I think next season, if Liverpool sort the midfield, it's going to be Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and if United get the Qatari ownership fighting for the title, City top along with Arsenal as well. But to be really honest, Newcastle still need a lot of improvement. I think Newcastle will challenge in 2 years' time, but not now. I think they need to do a lot. They are still very inexperienced. They still have to learn how to play in 2 competitions, and that's going to be a massive task straight away. But if they get the signings right, they can again be in the top 4, top 5, and they will 100% challenge you in 2 or 3 years' time because they are a very well-run club with Dan Ashford as a sporting director doing a very good job. And now, coming on to the last news today, should we get Lautaro, who is Pochettino's preference? See, people, I've always said I'll back the manager in the choices he gets, but being very, very honest, Lautaro is very underwhelming. He's a good player, no doubt. He really creates a lot of chances. He makes some good runs, and he's not a bad player by any stretch. But Lautaro in the final box is very, very, you can say, still work in progress, still very raw. And a Chelsea side which really score, this is going to be more of a problem. And Lautaro can be a good player, no doubt, but Inter Milan will ask us 60, 70 million for him when we already have players like Nkunku, Modric, Madueke, Sterling. It doesn't make sense to go for Lautaro. It makes sense to go for a more proper striker like a Mitrovic and play Nkunku behind him. And I think it doesn't make sense for us to go after Lautaro. I really think he's a good player. He's a very talented young player, but I think Lautaro is still a work in progress. He's not good in the final third. And again, it's going to be frustrating for Chelsea fans to see him in the final third. So for me, I won't go with this. But again, I'll back Pochettino. But then the blame has to be on Pochettino if this signing doesn't work. So now, people, these were all the news I'm going to cover today. And I do see you guys challenge for title as well. Nothing to play for Chelsea is one of it. I do agree with that one, but I think it's going to be 2 years' time, bro. I think next year, we have so much to do. It won't be back. It's going to take Chelsea 2 to 3 years, brother, to be fighting with you guys. But hopefully, we are there. And I respect Pickford for England national team, but a Premier League is quite opposite. But bro, he has had a good time with Everton and Keshav, bro. I do understand your point, and he's not a top keeper, but I think overall he's still a fine keeper in the Premier League level and still much better than the choice of, you can say, Meslier. Lautaro needs fully agree with that one. And I think Nkunku is not that one. I think Lautaro needs a more proper striker to work with, and Nkunku isn't the one. Chelsea will be playing a 4-2-3-1 formation, so it already doesn't make sense, and we should be away from a player like Lautaro for me. And Chelsea Perspective people, big up Chelsea Perspective people, please go and subscribe to Chelsea Perspective channel. Fantastic content, great channel. Do subscribe to the channel and massive content. Big up, brother, and thank you to join the chat. People, I will be straight away going to Ankit Bhai channel, so do go and subscribe to his channel. It's given in the description. Do go and subscribe, and you'll find me there. Please, people, it doesn't take much. Do hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't, and please support the channel and do hit the like button. Thank you so much, everyone in the chat who joined. I really respect you. Thank you so much, and please keep supporting the channel. And I'll always say one thing: I might have 0 views, I might have 1 views, 2 views, 200, 1000. I don't give a damn. People might be bored watching me. I don't give a damn. I will keep making this video because I love it. And as the people support me, it even makes me more motivated. Please like, subscribe, please support the channel. And United Road in the chat, people do go and subscribe to United Road. Anshuman Bhai is a fantastic, fantastic content creator. And in future, we'll be collaborating as well. So United Road, bigger brother, and thank you so much to join. Thank you, Keshav Bhai. It means a lot. And just join after my stream. Yeah, bro, I know you were also streaming as well. So thank you so much, brother, to join. And that is a spirit, brother. Thank you, bro. And you are an inspiration as well. And I think overall, people do support the Chelsea content creators. Ankit Bhai, Chelsea Perspective, some great content. And thank you so much, great. It means a lot. So, people, I'm just going to Ankit Bhai channel. Thank you so much, guys, who joined the chat. Big up United Road, big up Chelsea Perspective, and big up to Ankit Bhai channel, and big up to everyone in the chat. Hopefully, you guys have a great day. And thank you, everyone. Do hit the like button. Up the Chelsea. And we might be in right now the mud, but we are going to be back.